I'd always wanted to do one of those cheap car challenges like you used to see on the old episodes of Top Gear or the old automotive YouTubers like Haggard Garage, if you remember any of those guys when they used to be around. But it never really made sense to do. I mean, the hardest part was just finding a car for such an outrageously cheap price, and the other part is finding a candidate that might run. So, with a specific goal in mind, our plan was simple. All we had to do was find somebody who had a car for $200 or less and see if we could drive it home from wherever it was at, in whatever condition it might be. We had no super specific criteria in mind when it came to what kind of car we wanted to get. Honestly, we would have taken anything. The only reason we got a Honda Accord was because that's what came up. And for $160, how could we refuse? And with that, we fueled the truck up and started to head across the state to pick up the $160 Honda Accord. This is my friend Kala, a buddy of mine and the current owner of our new little Honda. For whatever reason, nobody was driving it and it didn't really run right now. And for a couple $100, it was the perfect candidate. Luckily, the ride over there was relatively uneventful. We saw some snow, but there'd be less and less of that as we got closer, which was a good thing because little did we know, we were going to be spending some time in the parking lot before we even got to driving this car. So after 150 miles and what felt like forever on the road, we had finally closed in on our destination. And as we pulled into the apartment complex, for the first time, we finally laid eyes on this little car.
Ow. I believe those are supposed to be painted yellow.
And as we got out, we could finally start tackling some of the challenges of this car. The biggest of which we didn't even know about until we got there. Yup, doors were locked. And with a dead battery, there was no way of getting in. So we're just finishing up the first trip to AutoZone to get a hammer and screwdrivers.
A universal key.
A universal key, because the door is unlocked, is locked, and we couldn't get it open with a coat hanger. So we're sacrificing the door lock. Now, before you leave a comment, I assure you, we sacrificed many minutes trying to get this open. So with a few taps of a hammer and screwdriver, none of which Kahlo unfortunately had, Ivan got the door lock right through, and the door opened. So with the help of Ivan's handheld air compressor, we could finally put some air in these tires and start to tackle the issue of the dead battery. So with the help of some jumper cables and Ivan's pickup, we got this car started. Unfortunately, we forgot to check the oil, and man did this thing smoke when it started up. Alright, trip number 2 to AutoZone. After getting the car running, we found out that it has like no oil in it, which you'd think we would have checked.
You'd think we would have thought of that.
But we did not at all. So the AC compressor is absolutely destroyed and smoking, but I think the serpentine belt will be good enough to get us home. So hopefully with a couple of quarts of oil and some Go Juice, we'll be in business. Just about every single light that can be on the dash
Is illuminated.
is on the dash. But we got quality motor oil, STP. If it's good enough for Richard Petty, it's good enough for us.
That is a fact.
And we also got some fucking coolant.
I like how STP's cheap, but the bottle looks sporty, so it makes me feel good about buying it.
You know, this does have VTEC, so
it's a race car.
It's a race car.
So
Our funnel today is brought to you by Sweet Tea, Pure Leaf. Sponsor us, be our first sponsor. Don't let it be Raid Shadow Legends. Some police officer is not going to believe our story. Whoa, I mean, look at this thing. Quality automobile.
the fact that it has a trunk with it.
And it's $160. Now, granted, hoping that this little motor who has no oil and has not had some oil for a while doesn't didn't do anything bad to us. Don't tell me you cannot get that off.
Dude.
Jesus Christ. This oil cap was on with the power of Thor, and I don't know if you guys can see in there. Probably not.
Does it have an oil? Yeah, it's got an oil change sticker in it.
It looks fucking rough. We can make this work.
What's the oil change sticker say? Where's the mileage isn't gonna pop up on the car right now.
I think it had like 288,000 on it when I checked. So it's barely broken. Oh, dude. It's only 8,000 over oil change. And with like synthetic and like Honda, it's like ready. This is fucked. Oh, and in case you guys were wondering, what really sweetens the deal on this whole thing, it comes with an extra trunk. Because you need those. Our cord badge is on the ground. I can't leave this. Because I won't want somebody to think that this car is junk. It's even an E. It's an EX. It stands for extra. Apple car.
He was like, I gotta keep the trunk.
All right, so we didn't get the extra trunk, and the alternator doesn't alternate at all.
Not doing an alternator in the parking lot.
Not at all, especially in northern Michigan in January.
Well, the money we're gonna spend on tools is gonna cover the dolly rental.
Bam. So we're just gonna grab a dolly and drag it home. Definitely needs fucking motor mounts. You should have seen the way that thing like shifted when you put it out of gear.
Oh, was it?
But
I was worried. I thought the e-brake was frozen for a second, like when I put it in gear, but the brakes were just frozen to the fucking rotors from sitting for so long.
yeah, they left the handbrake on for 7 months, which around here is a great idea. So far we're in this like 230 bucks maybe, with between gas and tools and oil, like maybe 230 bucks.
Make your money back on cats, worst case.
That's the idea. But so we're gonna go to U-Haul, get a dolly, and just drag it home. But fuck it. I mean, it's got brakes. I thought those were gonna be all fucking.
No, it stops.
It stops.
Has good pressure, all that bullshit.
Yeah. So
Cool, it was green.
that's a plus. Stay tuned. Carlo, say look at me.
Look at me.
I am the captain now.
I'm the captain now. What? That certain Brown fucking. The first day he said that, that shit got me pissed off.
Say, why are you running?
Why are you running?
So we jumped this car one last time just so it had enough juice to drive it up onto the dolly and get ready for the over 150-mile trip back home, where we could actually put a wrench on this thing and see if we couldn't get it to drive by the end of the day. Yeah, back up. Yeah, that's good.
Turn the dolly!
It's on. Look at her smoke. So with the car strapped down, we were finally ready to put some miles down on the road. More than anything, we were really just excited to finally be on the road. It was pretty interesting to look at some of the buildings as we went through town. A lot of them were pretty old and had some interesting architecture. It was pretty neat to drive through. We really didn't have much time to appreciate the architecture though, because by this point in the day, our stomachs were growling, and a local Mancino's pizza was exactly what we needed. By the time we had left Mancino's, it had finally gotten dark, and unfortunately, also started raining. But it was pretty cool to see that this town still had some lights up from Christmas. So with the Honda in tow, we were finally able to start making some real progress back towards Ivan's shop, which was where we were going to take it, so we could try and get this alternator sorted out before the end of the day. About 8 o'clock, it was really looking like we needed some gas, so we filled up and got right back on the road. We are at the local Shell, made it damn near almost home on that first tank. Look at this. Oh, this beautiful turd. So we are back at Ivan's shop. We have got the new alternator and V-belt. I did buy a new battery just in case the battery was bad, and it's in the car now. So now we just gotta pull the blue truck out and put it in here, and that should be a pretty quick job. And then we'll see where we are.
It'll take a while being a brand new battery. And it doesn't have a volt gauge in the car.
That's true.
So
Cracked the belt. First drive, this thing it's dog slow.
but it's so good.
It's so dumb.
$160.
$160 plus an alternator. I mean, that's all it needed. Gotta go put some fuel in it, or we're gonna be pushing this thing for the wrong reasons. Known fact: the blower is so bad, you have a train horn on the board. All right, so we're on our way back to the shop. We put $5 worth of fuel in it, and we're about to get into VTEC. VTEC! Dude!
It's like that solenoid's like waking up.
Yeah. I mean, it's shit.
But it's good.
But it's good.
Now it doesn't do it anymore.
Okay, let's
Go pull in there.
hold up. VTEC. Oh, in the parking lot?
Yeah, there was a path plowed for drifting.
Alright, so we're going up to my house real quick down the road to get some ATF because there is literally nothing on the dipstick at all. Nothing. Which begs the question, why did it even drive? And you probably think we're really stupid for just ripping on it, not checking that. But that would be because we are.
Right.
Yes. So I don't know what ATF goes in a Honda transmission, but what I do know is that all of these that are just sitting on my shelf are better than what's in it.
That's correct.
Just completely fucked that.
That really wasn't done the way it was supposed to be.
Not even close. You could have known you couldn't pour 2 quarts in through this little funnel and that it would overcome this little dipstick. Don't tell me we overfilled it now.
No, we didn't overfill it. The tube's full, so we're never going to be able to get an accurate reading, but
You want me to start it up?
it doesn't matter.
We've reached the part of the show where we now trust this enough. Oh, also the radio quit. To take it to the local high school parking lot and do some debauchery.
I don't know how that sunroof is supposed, like, where the button
I think
even
there's a
is.
button down here by the steering wheel.
Is it down there?
Yes, I believe so. Just want to make sure nobody's coming. Oh, clean and green, my friend. So far we're in this car and parts alone. 160 for the car and 100 or like 200 for the alternator, pretty much. So after breaking it in a icy high school parking lot, that's pretty much where we left it. It's still in my driveway right now. And to be honest, I don't really know what I'm going to do with it. Maybe if you guys have some suggestions, you could leave them below. I know, maybe this came out a little anticlimactic. We didn't quite get to road trip it across the state like we really thought we would. But overall, it was a pretty fun experience. I cannot say I recommend this, especially if you don't have a good friend who's got a truck. I can't even imagine where we'd be if we tried to drive this thing across the state with almost no transmission fluid in it. Oh well, maybe that would have been a video all in of its own. Anyway guys, thanks for checking this video out. See you around.